everyone. This is Books, Brews, and Besties. I'm Kaylee.
I'm Jenny.
And we are going to be talking about From Blood and Ash. From Blood and Ash is my favorite series of all time. I'm obsessed with it. This was my 6th reread of it.
Good for me. But
yeah.
This is what got me into reading last year.
Yeah. And this book is what got me into romantasy genre. We're really excited to be doing a series on it, and we're trying to split it up so people who have never read this book can follow along with us. We did chapters 1 through 10 recently, so we're going to go ahead and talk about just 1 through 10. So if you haven't read it, there are going to be spoilers for the first 10 chapters. Nothing major, though, I don't think, that would ruin the whole book. I don't know why Jenny looks crazy.
I'm like, okay.
I think enough
I'll
happens.
try and warn if I'm gonna blurt out something. I'll try and warn people.
Yeah. Well, plus I don't think anything really happens that gives away the major thing.
All right.
What do you think?
I think that one so much.
Oh, not the foreshadowing. We can't talk about the foreshadowing stuff. We'll hint at it. If you've never read the book, I think the first 10 chapters is talking about it will make you want to read it because of how much happens.
It's like a non-stop. I think that's why I love these books too, is because it's like, oh yeah, and it's like boom, 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 all this happens. It's like, wow, like hold up. Yeah, it's exciting.
And I will say that I listened to From Blood and Ash the first 5 times, so this will be my first actual read of the book. And when we first started reading it, I told Jenny how I've already picked up on so much that I missed every single time I've listened to the audiobooks. It's like I must have tuned out at the same time for every listen. So it's actually really exciting to be able to read it. And I've had the whole series in physical copy, but they're my trophies, so I never wanted to open them or read them. But that's fine. I've ruined it now. So I did bullet points of what happened. Do we want to go through what happened and then dive into the deeper things?
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and give everyone a rundown of everything that happened. So if you don't want to hear about what happens in chapters 1 through 10 of From Blood and Ash, hop off because we're going to get into it. All right, here we go. Chapter 1, we meet Poppy, our main female character, who we know has a special gift allowing her to feel others' emotions, a gift she is not allowed to use. And right off the bat, she's up to no good, which is why I love her, because she's just, she's rotten through the whole thing. Find her at the Red Pearl looking for some life moments, some life experience.
To experience life.
Yes. And she meets a mysterious lady who happens to know just what she needs and when. So before Poppy's father-like figure, who his name is Victor, we're going to talk about him a couple times, shows up, it forces her to hide before she's seen by him because, again, she's not supposed to be there. So Mystery Woman is like, oh, I know just the room that you should go into. So she goes in. So that's chapter 1. Chapter 2, page 29 for anyone who has read the series before. Foreshadowing is happening on that page. I'm not going to say any more than that, but foreshadowing is happening. We learn the mystery man is Hawk Flynn, an apparently sexy, beautiful man new to the Royal Guards. I love me some Hawk. We learn that Poppy very nonchalantly hid behind corners and in shadows to watch him like a smitten little stalker to learn about him. And in the book, it kind of describes him as always being in pain or walking around like a cave cat, just pacing back and forth and stuff. And so she says that she watches him to try and figure out why he's in pain. So that's why she's a little stalker. So anyways, Hawk is in the room that Poppy was told to hide in until Victor left. So she stays quiet as a mouse while Hawk is trying to talk to her. And he thinks she's someone else because she stole a cloak from one of the maids. So he believes she is someone else. She's wearing a maid's cloak and a mask, and then he kisses her, and it's her first kiss.
I just say though, it takes almost the entire chapter 2.
Yeah,
it's the build up for that.
But I love it, and I was blushing so hard. I just love it so much. This is one of my favorite chapters. Actually, I think chapter 3 is my super favorite chapter, but this one just really did it for me. But I love tension. After her first kiss, he then, which I hate him for this, because he's like, oh, I can tell that you're not like experienced or whatever, which rude.
This is your first time.
Yeah, so she gets all self-conscious. They have some banter back and forth, which is just chef's kiss. She tries to cover up the reason that she's actually at the Red Pearl, since, you know, she's supposed to be the maiden. She doesn't want him to find out. And I will say, so chapter 2, for anyone that hasn't read the book or doesn't know a whole lot about it, chapter 2 is one of those chapters that really irks people and gets them just yelling and arguing and stuff on all the Facebook groups, because this might be a spoiler, but not really. He like is on top of her because he thinks she's someone else, and like she's like, oh, get off me, and he's like, no, this is fun or whatever, and it's stuff like that. But then, and so people are like, oh, how dare she like romanticize him not listening to her or her needs and stuff like that. But really, if you read the book, Poppy says, I could make him get off me if I really wanted to, but I don't want him to. So it's like, it makes up for it.
I also say, though, that he knows how she really feels throughout.
Oh, yeah.
Her entire, but like, he knows that she's like, doesn't really mean get off me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, she's fine.
I think people just get very angry over anything they can. And this is one of those chapters that it's got like people heated. So if you ever talk about it, you'll see.
Yeah.
That's pretty much chapter 2. It's her and Hawk together, like sexual tension happening. And
it gets a bit steamy.
It does get a bit steamy. Yes. This is a spicy book.
Yeah. You know, that first chapter, I was like, yeah, this is okay. And then when I was first reading them, and I'm like, there was a couple of messages in the later books where I'm like, you know, I should stop saying, but it's okay. This is really hard not to talk about everything.
Right? I know, it really is. Chapter 3, just to continue with our summary before we really get into the book, starts off with us learning that there was a person, unknown who, that was not found worthy during the ascension. I have thoughts on that, but we'll wait until a later time. This person was erased from history, so you should pick up on that. And then my favorite scene happens where Hawk is like teasing Poppy and she allows some sexy stuff to happen. Then and it's just the best because I love it, because Poppy's like freaking out. And we also meet her best friend, Tawny, who I love. And she's like a lady in wait. If you're familiar with like royals stuff, there's usually lady in waits and courts and stuff. So that's what Poppy is, or Tawny. That's what Tawny is to Poppy. And we also learn that Poppy gets to attend her first rite, which is the last one before she is ascended, which we're not going to get super into that because I feel like that's a whole other thing throughout the whole book that you'll learn. At the end of the chapter 3, Victor shows up saying that they've been summoned, which in the first 10 chapters, you learn that that is not a good thing. Like, she does not like being summoned to stuff because usually it is her being punished for something in a very horrific way. So a little bit of suspense there. Chapter 4, Victor and Poppy go to see Agnes and Marlowe. And this, I forgot how sad this chapter is. Marlowe is her husband, and he's been bitten by what is called a craven, which when I was first reading these or listening to them, I immediately like pictured a zombie type thing. And then rereading this, it's more like a zombie vampire thing. Yeah. Because they've got like the fangs.
Yeah, but it's like a weird dog, like a dog cross pig thing, because they have them, they come up from the bottom and they come down from the top. And I see them, I don't know what I picture, I don't know what creature it is, but like they're like almost white. I don't know why they're completely white. I think it's the mist. So I'm picturing them that they're like all white, or like translucent or whatever. And then like kind of quite dog shaped faces, but not like long. I don't know. My brain, I know exactly what I wish I could show you, because I think that's exactly what they look like. But I'm trying to think what show I've seen that has them.
Well,
but yeah.
Visions of Flesh and Blood has what they actually look like, and it's not like a dog. It's more like Voldemort. It's like Voldemort, only with fangs.
Can we see it? Let's see it. Well, that's not a spoiler. Let's just see it.
It's on the box behind the couch. I'll keep going through chapter 4.
Okay.
All right, she's gonna go grab Visions to show you guys what a craven looks like, because I think it's really cool. Marlowe, the husband, has been bitten by a craven, and then Victor and Poppy give those who are cursed an honorable death. So anyone that's bitten by a craven, they eventually turn into one as well. If they're caught before they turn, then they're burned alive in front of everyone. And so Poppy and Victor try and stop that from happening and go to these people's homes and give them an honorable death. During that whole scenario, Poppy learns that there is another that's infected that might be in the castle, and then it ends off on that. And the sad thing about this is the fact that the wife tells them that the husband is still the husband, so like he hasn't lost his mind yet and he's still aware of things that are going on. It's just it just gets to my heart.
I need the butcher and back.
I'll find it later.
Okay. Never mind.
I have 2 copies.
Of course you do. Surprised it's not in your trophy box right there. Like,
yeah. All right, chapter 5, and I made a little note for me and you there, so to go back to page 72 further in the book.
Okay.
But Poppy and Victor get into an argument over her recklessness as they walk back to the castle. Victor assumes Poppy wants to be found unworthy, and we get more hints of the things that the Duke does to punish Poppy. Victor also spits out some major truths that Poppy doesn't want to hear as they're walking back to the castle. And then we also meet Rylan, her personal guard, and I love him. I love him so much.
I love him too.
He is the best. And I know that every time I love a character in literally any book that things always bad happen, like Liam in Fourth Wing.
I was about to say it, and I was like, do I want to say that? Because I was like, it's like the first Liam.
Yeah. So that's great. So always be wary, especially in these books, because people are always dying.
Oh my God. Everything. Yeah.
We meet Rylan, which is her personal guard. And then we meet Lord Mazine, who is a disgusting creature. And he is like a right-hand man to the Duke, who is the one that punishes Poppy.
And he can die.
Yeah.
I'm happy if he died. I'd be really happy.
Yeah, I hate him. And from the moment like we meet him in chapter 5, because I think that's exactly where we meet him in chapter 5. There's a cat. Oh, it heard me.
It's outside.
It's like literally looking right at us. Anyways, from the second you meet him, you're gonna hate him. Like there's just no.
I didn't even have to meet him. He was mentioned. Earlier on, I was like, hate him.
Yep. Not a good dude. And then at the end of chapter 5, there's a dead woman that is found. And that's how chapter 5 ends. So leading into chapter 6, a little note for us. I thought it was interesting that Victor gets headaches, just like Poppy does in these few chapters. Neither did I until I did this reread. So chapter 6, a little bit more happens. And of course, because there was a dead body found, that's kind of the main subject of this chapter. So Poppy believes that Mazine might be responsible somehow for the death of the woman that's found, which I don't blame her. If as soon as you meet him, you'll understand.
Does she actually believe that?
It says.
Does it now?
In words that she does.
I missed over that. Because I remember I believed it was him. Because I'm reading it and I'm like, well, he's just come from around the bloody corner. Of course it was him. But yeah, I didn't pick up that she thinks that too. But maybe that's why I think it, because it was written. And then I was like, oh, yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, no. At first, it's mentioned that Poppy believes it's Mazine. But then as the chapter progresses, her, Tawny, and Rylan all discuss it. And we find out that the victim was Melissa Axton, which she's not really mentioned a whole lot after this kind of blows over. And then they start talking about how it could be the dissenters, and that's what the Duke thinks it is. And they're still like, oh, I'm not really sure about that. And then, of course, we have Victor, who believes it's an Atlantean, which we don't really know a lot about. But I did put in here. So if anyone wants to know about them real quick, an Atlantean, I put what page it's on. So Atlanteans are between year 19 and 21. Those are of blooded Atlantean descent leave the vulnerable state of immaturity, wherein the ill spirits in their blood become active. Noted during this period is a disturbing increase in strength and the ability to recover from most mortal wounds as they continue to mature. It is also to be noted that before the War of Two Kings and the extinction of the Wolven, a bonding ritual which was performed between an Atlantean of a certain class and a Wolven. Not much is known about this bond, but it is believed that Wolven in question was duty-bound to protect the Atlanteans. For a true Atlantean, 2 upper canines will form fangs, becoming elongated and sharpened, but they will not be overly noticeable to the untrained eye. So pretty much they have fangs, and on this dead body that they found, there was like fang marks, which is why Victor thinks it's an Atlantean.
Can I just say, I was just going to quickly look at that. My pages are not the same. And I did not know that.
Weird.
I know. I thought we had the same. Oh, here. It's different.
Yeah, yours is on 76.
Damn.
I wonder why yours is different.
Noticed it. Okay.
Anyways, so that's just a little summary of Atlanteans. We don't know anything else besides that information.
I will just add that a dissenter is believed to be a follower of
the Dark One.
The Dark One.
Which is an Atlantean.
Supposedly, yes.
Yeah. So Poppy, of course, sneaks out to see the crime scene because she's a hot mess.
Yeah. Because that's like the first sentence in the first chapter. So the opening book is that she's not supposed to be there and she's trying to hide at a crime scene.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she's good at this. She likes her crime mysteries.
She has to be everywhere all the time, which is why we love her. But so yeah, she sneaks out and she finds a jasmine petal at the crime scene. And there is a bouquet above where that petal is, but none of it's jasmine. It's like lilies, I'm pretty sure is what the book says.
Yeah.
So interesting. And then on my page 95, it describes, I skipped a part. Rylan offers to escort Poppy into the Queen's garden to clear her mind and allow her out of her chambers. And then after that, on my page 95, it like describes the cool wind blowing and like all the leaves rustling and stuff. When I first ever listened to this audiobook and then again reading this, I was like, I would take that as like something's like
a shiver.
Yeah. Not like, a beautiful wind at night, rustling leaves. Like, no, that's a warning, people. Like, that's a warning. No matter if you're in a book or real life, if it's dark and you're in a garden,
and it's
run.
Chill, and it just goes.
Yeah, like just run. Don't even try and continue on. And then at the end of this chapter, Rylan, spoiler, is shot in the chest with an arrow, and it's really freaking sad. And also what really irks me is the fact that he literally gets shot in the chest with an arrow as he's saying night blooming roses remind me of, and then we never know. It's just, and that's like one little tidbit that I'm always like, of what did they remind him of? It's that important information, but because I don't know, I want to know. So that happens. Rylan dies, and it's really sad because I loved him. And then chapter 7 pisses me off. Rylan luckily has a quick death, and Poppy quickly realizes that she's not alone as Rylan's killer stands before her. And we don't know who he is. He's like still a mystery man after this whole thing. But Poppy, being the badass that she is, stabs him like 3 times.
Yeah.
Really pisses him off, and then he pretty much tells her that he's gonna bathe in her blood and feast on her entrails, which is disgusting.
Yeah.
But
I was like, what are you? Like, what kind of creature, fae person are you?
Yeah.
Like, because I had no idea when I first started, and I was like, I don't even know what kind of creatures that we're gonna see in this book.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. That's a rough sentence. Especially since she keeps describing him as like unnatural and like not human and stuff, but she obviously still, it's just like the sounds that he's making and stuff.
Yeah, that's right. 'Cause he's,
yeah. So anyways, he gets stabbed, a whistle happens, and it like calls him back. Poppy like goes back to Rylan, and he's obviously just dead. But luckily like happened super quick, and because she even says that he died before he even hit the ground, which is good because we don't want him to suffer, but still. She goes to find someone to help her, and of course she has to hide the dagger and stuff because she's not supposed to know how to fight or anything since she's the maiden.
Yes, that's the whole heartbreaking bit where she's like, I've got to wipe the blood like all over
on his pants and stuff. Yeah.
No, it's like,
So she runs into Victor and another royal guard, and they obviously know what happens. So then we find out that the arrow used to kill Rylan had the mark of the Dark One on it, which is the saying from Blood and Ash we will rise.
He's like the book everywhere. I don't even
from
know
Blood and Ash.
Yeah. And
whole point of the book.
Yeah.
And then the Duchess confirms Poppy and Victor's thoughts that it was an Atlantean believed to have killed Melissa, and warned Poppy that the Dark One has come for her. And that's how that chapter ends, is with like that sentence.
I don't want to like say too much, but the fact that that death happened and then this happened, it like played so well into the favors of everyone.
Yeah.
It just worked so well. Like the timing must have been
top notch.
Right? Because I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely. So what was this person? Like,
yeah, Jennifer did a great job at writing this book.
Oh, yeah.
I must say, like this, and also before we continue with the rest of that, just knowing that this series, because this is a long series, it's already got 5 books set. Hold on.
Wow, I was saying if you include
3, 4, 5, if we include, 5 if we include A Soul of Ash and Blood, which is like that has spoilers, but you can also read it with From Blood and Ash if you're doing a reread.
Yeah.
But if you've never read the series before, wait till after the whole series to read it. And then also it's got the prequel books, which is A Shadow in the Ember is the other series. Just the thought process of how to combine the two and everything that's in these books that intertwines with those ones is just insane to me. I don't know how she did it. Like, she is just a mastermind.
I know.
We only have 3 chapters to summarize left, and then we'll go into the actual chat. So chapter 8 is a pretty short chapter. We learn a bit about Poppy's appearance. We know that she's got scars on her face. We learn that she's got green eyes. We know that she's got like copper hair. And then that's really all we learn about that. It's important to know because of what happens in the next 2 chapters. Tawny comes to see her, and they have some like needed like girl talking time where like Tawny like comes up into Poppy's bed when they both can't sleep, and they just talk about everything that's happened, all the events and stuff. And I just picture that a really nice like best friend moment, even though Poppy doesn't believe that they're friends, that she believes that she's only there because she's duty bound, which is also kind of sad, but it's also just a nice moment. Poppy attends Ryland's funeral, and then I have in all caps where Hawk comes in with his "I have her" line to Victor, because Victor has to go and like light Ryland pretty much on fire, but he doesn't want to leave Poppy after all the deaths that have happened. So like Hawk comes up and is like, "I have her," and it's just the best, and I love it.
I know, and Victor's like, "Do you?"
Yeah.
And I just feel Victor is such a dad. I just love him. That's why the image of him in the newer book is not right.
I mean,
it's not
after reading the description in here, it matches it like spot on. But when I first ever listened, and even now, the picture that I have of him in my head, I created what like, despite what the description says.
Like I don't see him like old in his 50s or whatever, but I picture him as a dad. Like I feel like he's been training her since she was really young. So like he's got to have at least 15 years on.
Well, it says that he's 40. He's in his 40s.
That picture don't look like he's in his 40s.
But again, it's visions of flesh, of whatever, vision.
A lot.
But chapter 9 starts off with a training session, and this is one of the longer chapters. It starts off with a training session between Poppy and Victor, and I love this part because you really get to see their relationship.
So cute.
And they have their little banter, and you know, we just see them conversing a lot more. And then we also see Poppy fail at being clever while trying to ask if Hawk was going to be Ryland's replacement, which I thought was really funny.
So funny. It's just like, oh, I just love it.
Yeah, me too. And then Poppy attends one of the weekly councils. This is one of the scenes that like Jenny texted me about, because the Toulis family, pretty much like the weekly councils are just where commoners can come and ask requests of them, or you know, just praise them on things that they've done. So we meet the Toulis family, which just had their 3rd son, and they're hoping to request that their 3rd son is not given to the gods. And of course, because the Dutch and Duchess are just gremlins, they say no. There's a lot of tension in the room, a lot of stuff is happening in that scene and stuff. But this is, I think, a pivotal moment in where people's dislike for them builds even more, and you can see things shifting in the book.
Even the pivotal moment for Poppy, though, because now she's going, oh wait, hang on a minute, I'm going to question this.
Like why
mistake on the Duke and Duchess for bringing her along to that.
It's definitely a very important scene.
I have notes on that scene too, so I'm waiting till we get there.
Yes. We only have one more chapter to discuss, and it's like a super short chapter.
Yeah.
Chapter 10 is only a couple pages long. So chapter 10 summary, and this is the last chapter because we're doing 1 through 10, and then we're going to deep dive into everything. So Poppy is summoned to meet with the Duke and Duchess. Alongside her are Victor and Tawny, and again, you know that being summoned is not a good thing. So they're all a little bit on edge. Then Victor says that it's about who her replacement is going to be. Yeah. When they enter the room, Hawk is in the room.
I know, because she's like looking at him and she goes,
we find out that he indeed will be replacing Rylan, and the chapter ends on the Duke saying that she has to reveal her face to Hawk, which in all the other chapters, she mentions that the Duke is always, telling her what a disgrace it is that, half her face is perfect and the other half is, not.
Yeah.
And he's just like laughing as she's shaking.
She's the maiden and veiled from birth, they say. But in the descriptions that I read, that she's actually like veiled and covered from the age of 8.
I don't remember.
Or is that from just wearing the color white? I can't quite remember, but I did make notes of it. So I was like, wait, is she veiled from birth, or is she? I think she mentioned she wears the color white from the age of 8, and she wasn't allowed to wear any other color.
Yeah, I remember that.
But I was trying to like place like how old is she? How long has she been with the Duke and the Duchess?
Yeah.
Because we know that she's 18 now.
Yeah, and we know that the Queen raised her for a lot of her life too.
Yeah, because and the Queen is her Queen's favorite and all of that.
But all right, so those are all of our chapter summaries for the first 10 chapters of From Blood and Ash. So we're going to go ahead and just talk about all the main points that we want to for those 10 chapters. All right, you can go since you've got.
Okay, so I just like that straight away. The first couple sentences is dead guy, crime scene, and then mystery is like thrown in at you like all the time. And you're like, oh yeah, this, and there's a mist, and there are these other things that people die of that you don't know anything about yet. And it's just a consistent like flow, which I love that.
Yeah, I also think that the way that she intertwined her world building with the story moving along was done really well too. Yeah. Like you're not inundated with just a bunch of information. You are in a way, but it's with the story, like, so it's relevant to what's happening in the story.
And you get like a hint of that she has some powers, but then like in a few more chapters you get a little bit more and a little bit more. It's not like 10 chapters on that people have some powers and there's this other species that have these powers. It's not like 100% of just world building. It's just like a little, which is what I really like about Poppy as a character though, is because she's been veiled and shadowed and hidden. She doesn't know anything.
Yeah.
So we'll like get to learn with her. She knows a little bit, which is what we're trying to build up on that. So there was a war of 2 kings that happened 400 years ago. And that is when these ascensions happened, which is still kind of, it's not very clear what happens.
Yeah, they don't go into it a lot in the first 10 chapters. I don't feel like.
You get hints, which is, again, I think this is what plays into this really good story, world building kind of thing. And there's something bad going on, the mist. The mist is very bad. And that's what we think straight away is that first dead guy is because of the mist. And it's like, well, what's the mist? What's in the mist? Is the mist killing people? Makes me think of that film, The Mist. The Mist?
I wonder what made you think of that.
I know. I don't know. It's so different. The scene when she gets to the brothel, she's gone out and she's wearing the blue cloak. Sorry. And the scene where Victor comes in and she's like, ew, oh my gosh. And the worker like puts her hand on his leg. Oh my, I gotta get out of here.
Could you imagine if like you saw a family member at a brothel
and then you're like, oh my god,
like I need to leave right now. And then how she's like, but he's like still in love with his wife that's like passed away. Like she's not in the picture and hasn't been in a real long time, but she's like, he's supposed to still love her. And then she's like, well, I guess you don't need love to do these things.
I know. So we meet a few characters. We have Phillips Rathy, pronounce that probably awful, and then Eric Ian. We know of a Prince Cass. We have Hawk. We have a mystery friend who speaks to him in these chapters.
Yeah.
We have Victor,
Taylor.
Victor, Rylan, and the mystery worker. that's at the brothel, the Red Pearl. We don't meet, but we know of Ian, the Duke, the Duchess, and Lord Mezzine. Those, and obviously Tawny. Those are like our big noteworthy characters.
Yeah, and Ian's her brother. So if you haven't read From Blood and Ash, Ian is her brother, and he's really not talked about a whole lot, but we know that he has ascended.
Yes, and that they had a really like great relationship. They were together when they were growing up a lot, and he used to write her letters and stuff.
Yeah,
or say it's really cute. It's really cute.
We love people writing letters.
I know. The whole books that we've just read. What was it?
Divine Rivals and Rickles Bell.
Beautiful books. I mean, I had a few issues mostly with the second, but anyway, I just want to read what our secret person says. Maybe it's not in this chapter.
Oh, the lady, the woman. That's early in the chapters.
See, says chapter 2. I'm missing some text. Hold on. We do get a reference here of 3 rivers is mentioned by the guards in the brothel.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to mention that.
Okay.
For no reason. That is just it's a location that gets mentioned. Is 3 rivers. It's the only one that we actually get told of. We don't get told that the name of the city or whatever that we're in until chapter 2. We learn that we're in Solaris in chapter 2. So we don't actually know where we are at all. That's like the first location that gets mentioned is 3 rivers. So I just thought, locations are a good thing to highlight. This is really hard.
I don't pay attention to locations at all.
But there was a line that I just can't see right now from the mystery brothel worker says that you will find sanctuary in the room upstairs to the left or whatever. And I like that word because I was
sanctuary.
Yeah, because I was like, well, for what happens, it's adorable. It's just adorable. Okay, I was like, it's just so cute.
But for that moment, I don't think Poppy felt it was a sanctuary. I think she was like, what the heck is happening?
I know.
But yeah, the Red Pearl scene was everything. And I was
so like quickly though. It's just like, bam, dead guy, we're in a brothel. And it's just amazing.
Yeah, no, I loved it. And I also love like her and Hawk's banter in that room because she's just like, what is happening? What is happening? What am I doing? What do I want to do? Do I want to stay and do things? And he's like, well, will you stay or will you be back when I get back and stuff? And then she says yes, and then she leaves.
I know. To be fair, I would have left you. I'd be like, no, I'm not doing it.
I don't think so. I don't think I would have. If he was as hot as like she describes him, my ass would have stayed. I don't care.
She does say that Hawk, Hawk is a soldier from the Rise. And he mentions that he's seen her watching him train. I was like, I've seen you. And she's like, oh my God. That
he was a little stalker. Like, and it was written as she's a stalker. Like, oh, I was hiding in like shadowed corners and stuff watching him. Like, girl, you're creepy.
But later on too, Tawny's like, dude, I was with you when you were just there. You're staring at him. Like, yeah, it's pretty obvious. But she says that he has eyes of cool honey, which that description varies throughout. There's a little bit later, she says like amber eyes, or it now has flecks of amber in it. And it's subtle changes that I just wanted to pick up on, which I thought was just super interesting. That she just kind of changes.
Yeah.
They get lighter and darker and stuff.
This is going to be a spoiler, kind of. So if you haven't read the series,
I'd be watching too.
Yeah. if you haven't watched read the series, then just ignore this part. But I really wanted to pay attention to where she's like describing how he moves and stuff. Because I did not realize how often she mentions that he moves like a cave cat. And then she keeps going back to that one that was at the Queen's castle. And it's mentioned like 3 times within the first 10 chapters. And I'm like,
did they legit say cave cat?
Yeah.
Because I've not seen that.
Yeah. Legit cave cat. Right, pacing like a cave cat.
Give me some pages when we get there. I will just say
I probably haven't marked
that Poppy, it's really kind of sad to know like how kind of forbidden her life has been and how like closed off, and that she can't talk to people can't talk to her, because
right here.
It's so forbidden. Hold on. We're at the beginning of chapter, literally page 2.
Yeah. So in chapter 2, it says, I wanted to lie to myself and say that it was due to his striking height, placing him nearly a foot taller than me, or it was because he moved with the same inherent predatory grace and fluidity that belonged to the large gray cave cats that normally roamed the wastelands, but that I had seen once in Queen's Palace as a child.
Oh my God. How did I skip all of that mic drop?
Mm-hmm. And I was like,
damn.
So I literally said that I've listened to this book like 5 times. This is my 6th time like reading it, but this is the first time I'm physically reading it, and I'm picking up so much. Like in the first chapter, there was foreshadowing for stuff if you've read the series, and I'm like, how did I miss all of how did I miss it through all the listens? I don't understand. But yeah, I was like, holy cow, that is definitely important. So, and then I started paying attention more, and it's mentioned like at least 3 times with that same like phrase of he moves like a cave cat or whatever. So
this is my second read. I read them all fairly quickly. So now we're doing this detailed review, which is amazing because I am picking up on so much.
Yeah.
I was just saying how forbidden Poppy's life is, that she can't be talked to, she can't talk to people can't even look at her, like all of this. And that the one scene with Hawk in the bedroom, she's like, she doesn't even know if he has a local accent. Like, she's like, I have absolutely no idea. And she's trying to like, so where are you from? What does your dad do? It's like her small talk is awful. I was like, girl, just stop talking. I'm like, let it just happen.
I know. I think that's what I loved them, like their first encounter banter so much, is because she's so awkward and he just finds it so amusing, so he like tries to play it up. And I just love how those two things clash and create the emotional trauma that we get to read.
I just imagine for where Hawk's character gets to in the future, like I'm just, when we get to read that other book, and I'm just like, imagine him in that situation. Like, how does he not burst into laughter just being like,
a Soul of Ash and Blood? That one? Yeah.
On his reflection of everything. I'm like, I just want to go back to this moment and be like, how is he not just cracking up?
I know.
My dad's fine, thanks. He's a farmer.
Yeah. And like we said, if you've read From Blood and Ash all the way through, then definitely read A Soul of Ash and Blood. It's in Hawk's perspective, but it moves the story forward. So after A War of Two Queens, you get a little bit of movement and you learn some pretty hardcore things for the next book. But if you have not read the full series, it's going to have some major spoilers in it. So I would not read it in partner with From Blood and Ash, even though it's got like past chapters that is in his point of view for From Blood and Ash, but you would definitely get spoiled in the present day chapters that are in that book.
Yeah.
So
chapter 2, we also get to we get to learn about a dagger, a very special dagger that she received on her 16th birthday, a bloodstone.
And it's beautiful.
We are now into chapter 3. So she's run away from Hawk, who had to leave with his mysterious friend, who he was displeased with that he had to leave, but he did. And obviously she's like, yep, see you later. I'm bouncing. But we get to meet Tawny, who I just love. And we do learn that Poppy sneaks out a lot because she cannot sleep very much or a lot.
And that Tawny's a bad influence too.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I was like, Tawny is funny. If you ever go to the Red Pearl without me again, I'll cut holes in the bottom of your shoes. I'm like, what a threat.
I know, like what an interesting threat to lay upon someone.
I know. I was like, I just love her and she's so funny. They also mention that they sneak out to a lake and they go bathing in the lake.
Noted.
Asterisk. Yep. Oh, page 39 for me is we learn what Poppy has been wearing since the age of 8.
Oh, which is the white veil and dress and everything.
I don't know. Can I say this? I'm gonna throw out spoiler foreshadow spoiler. It mentions here that Tawny is talking to Poppy about her ascension. I know you fear you won't return from them, but you're the queen's favorite maiden. And obviously we know that there was a maiden before, but there are no records on who she was or what happened to her.
Yeah.
I just totally wrote that. I was like, but can I just say how I know you feel you won't return from them? Now, for those that have read, obviously, or if the ascension had happened,
you don't have to whisper; they can still hear you.
I'm so sorry. If it had happened, then she would never have returned from it.
Yeah,
I'm like, literally, Tawny says it right here. She says, like, I know you think that you won't return, but you're the queen's favorite. And it's like, bam! She actually wouldn't.
I mean, it's crazy to me also because it's so true in just the world in general that if you are raised being told one thing, like this is what's going to happen, everything's going to be fine, blah, blah. It's crazy to me how many people don't question it. Like in that scene, it shows it perfectly. Like Tanya's like, no, I'm not scared at all. Why would I be? And, like, it's a great honor, blah, blah. And Poppy's like, but is it? Like, what actually is happening? Like, she wants the information, where the majority of people, if you're brought up as a group together being told one thing, you're not going to stray from that information, which is so scary to think about.
Yeah.
But you see that happening.
You see that happening in real life too.
Yeah, every day.
Like, even here, I was thinking in other countries, like you see people who
think America's the worst for it.
I know.
Let's be real.
Just trying to be like, I don't want to be here. Like, this is too much. I need to go, whatever. And I don't agree with what they're saying. I mean, I don't want to bring politics into it, but what happened was it 2018 at the elections? Was it 2018?
You're going to be more specific on what I'm talking about.
It was 2020 presidential elections. It was January 16th or something like that.
Okay.
That was a thing. I haven't forgotten this because I'd only been in America for like...
Oh, the storming of the Capitol?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'd only been in America for like maybe, was it 6 months-ish? I came in 2020.
Traumatic for you.
And I was watching it and I was like, what's happening in this fucking country right now? I was like, you guys are supposed to be like the world leaders of everything. You guys are just world police. You took that role, you run with it. And I'm I'm legit, like, I'm on the other side of the country, but I was like, oh my God, like, this is a civilized country. And I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah.
And people just blindly following.
Yeah.
Crazy idiot.
But that's what I love about this book is, like, she ties in things that happen in real life so perfectly into the fantasy world. It's not only like intriguing and you're learning a bunch of information and you feel like you're in a different world, but it's also relatable things that you're like, you know what? Actually, that I can get behind that because it happens in regular life too.
It so does. Yeah, it so does. And it was absolutely terrifying. Even when you get what do they call those? Cults?
Yeah.
How that people just fall into those and then they're just like, oh,
just fall into it.
I don't even know how
it's a pothole.
It's mad. I love it. But anyway, that was chapter 3. Chapter 4, we get the summoning, which isn't a bad one because he's like, Victor's like, they're cursed. And it's like, what? We've been summoned for there's a curse, it's like, whoa. That's what I have to say happens. This is one of my very last notes after chapter 10 is that I like how all the chapters are different lengths. Like chapter 8 and 10, they're very, very short.
Yeah.
But like almost every single chapter is like big cliffhanger.
Okay.
Huge.
So I've been taking writing classes because, we're writing our things or whatever.
Yeah.
And the guy that was teaching it was like, every chapter has to have a risk or like something happening that builds it up. And then every chapter after that, you have to keep building up. So every chapter should end with something major happening to your character.
Oh, yeah.
That leads off into the next one. And I was like, what? And then in rereading these, she does it. Like, it legit, I feel like that's probably why I love these books so much, is because there's always something to keep your interest and like make you want to keep reading.
Yeah. Whereas I found that a little bit with Fourth Wing and Iron Flame books, but that for me, I'm hooked more on those books because there is just so much happening that it's like a puzzle, and you get strands. You get strands of the information that you have to piece together throughout. It's not like this book where it's like cliffhanger. It's still like that. You still have to piece the puzzle together. But that one is like an extreme puzzle in a novel. And I love that. It's really, I know.
She really loves Fourth Wing. Really. You feel to that as I feel to From Blood and Ash. So I'm like, stop talking about it. We're talking about From Blood and Ash.
I have to get it in every podcast. Actually, what am I supposed to get in?
Literally, you do.
I know. I think I do. Okay, maybe not with the author interviews, but what is that thing that I'm supposed to get?
I'm not telling you. You're supposed to say a stupid saying to make me laugh.
I know. Yeah. What is it?
I know. I'm not gonna tell you. Anyways, so one of the things that I wanted to know, because I thought it was interesting and I have not caught it in any other reading or listening sections, is
so I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just like, okay, I'm listening. I'm paying attention.
Is how Victor gets headaches. I missed that.
I didn't. I mean, I knew he said. Actually, what chapter is it?
Oh, I don't know. Hold on.
I might have to look at my little book.
I wrote it in here. Chapter 5.
See, it's on page 70. It's my little book, notebook that is like all my notes, and then I have to take that. So I'm sorry. It's where?
Hold on, I lied.
It's after the
chapter 6. So yeah, it says that Victor gets headaches, which I have missed. I've missed every single time. It's so hard not to say other things because I don't want to ruin the stories, but I don't know how I missed in every single read that he's gotten headaches, because I feel like that's kind of important.
A little bit, but kind of not.
And you think that them mentioning 3 rivers in the first chapter is important?
Yes, the first location that gets mentioned is a very, very...
I can't with you. I can't.
Okay, I just want to say, though, because the headaches don't mean what they mean.
But they could.
They could, but they don't.
We might not know that yet.
We might not know.
The series is not over.
It's true.
I'm still holding out that this is an important bit of information, especially since he knows how to make the stuff for her.
Yeah, that's true.
So, whatever. I'm going to keep...
Okay.
I'm making a note for everyone who has read From Blood and Ash. I think that the fact that Victor got headaches is important. So, just throwing that out there for the world to know. Moving on.
I like it. I do. I really like it. I just wish it did. Maybe it will. I'm sorry. I don't even know where we got to talking about things.
Can we just talk about Hawk for a little bit? Like, because I love him. I love him so much. And I think I just love him so much, not only because he's got like the dimples and stuff, but just because his comebacks are chef's kiss, and then just the things that he does to her body and stuff. Just fun. Perfect. And then also like her reactions to him, I love. Yeah. I can't talk about him without getting
giggly.
Oh yeah. I feel just as smitten, and if I was Poppy, I would totally be hiding in the shadows watching him too. And I don't even care. Oh my gosh. And the part where Poppy's like talking about how her and the Duchess were like watching them practice or whatever, and she even mentioned that the Duchess was also looking at him, which I think is pretty interesting. But yeah, so I think Ash beats him though.
Oh yeah, only because he has much more experience in everything.
Ash?
Yeah.
No, he doesn't.
I'm so sorry. I'm thinking of the wrong person. I'm thinking of the person that's in the other one.
What are you talking
Do you mean Ash is in Ash from
the
Savage Lands?
No. Ash in the prequel. Have you read the prequel?
Ash is.
I can't say his real name, Jenny, without it being
I don't want to say it either.
Oh my God, let me write it down. I can't with you.
I have it right here. Here.
Yeah.
Yes. What? He is far, far, far more superior.
Yeah, superior, but not in knowledge of
in every way. 100%. 100%.
We're gonna talk about this afterwards. Anyways, moving on. But yeah, I just love him. And also the scene in, I think it's chapter 2, where the knock is on and he's like, just like has to take a breath, like, come on, dude. I love this.
Like, sorry, what does he say? He literally says something like, sorry, I'm busy right
thoroughly
now.
Like thoroughly
enjoying
preoccupied or like something like that. Yeah.
And I was like, yep.
And mysterious person is like, sorry to interrupt, but it has to be done.
Oh yeah. He's like, damn it, he cursed, looking over his shoulder. He called out, I'm thoroughly, happily busy at the moment.
Yes.
And it does say his name is Kieran. The mystery friend. Sorry, I didn't include his name. And it's like, sorry to hear that.
I did not know that he was named either.
I didn't know that either, but he is. Oh yeah, he even says it's Kieran.
Oh,
I just put down that he was not mentioned, but Kieran is.
What's up, Callie?
I'm busy. Go away. Oh yeah. That's yeah. It's like, sorry guys.
Yeah, no, I just love him. He's the best. And I'm so excited to go through the other chapters and get to some other major parts because the thing that I'm going to have to say, oh, I cannot wait. I literally cannot wait. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So, okay, continue with your note.
I don't even know where we are right now.
We can be anywhere. We're just discussing like the details and stuff.
Again, another thing, foreshadowing, spoiler coming up, so don't listen if you don't want to. But Victor, with him saying that she wants herself to be found unworthy of ascension.
Hey, baby.
Victor says, the end result will not change. All you will do is, well, something, and then it says, you won't be unworthy, you will ascend. And when you think of that in the
Callie,
in the terms of ascension that does occur.
I wasn't listening to you. But you can continue because they are listening to you.
So I'm going to have to say, but yes, you will. Victor says you will ascend, you will not be found unworthy. Like there is, it's going to happen. And when you think about what he knows and doesn't know all at the same time, like that actually legit just right there. That whole sentence. I don't really want to say too much. This is really
we
hard.
can't. Yeah, I know. We should talk about the fact that it's going to be made into a show, though.
I'm excited.
Amazon it has picked it up. I think it's still in a hold stage right now, though, because of the writer strike. Last I heard, but it is going to be an Amazon show, which I'm actually very excited about because just based off of what they did with Ring of Power, I feel like they could do really well with From Blood and Ash. Like they have the potential to do it really well just based off of what they've done with their other originals. So I'm half excited and also half not excited because like I said, this is my favorite like book series. And so I'm super protective of it. But I also
better do it justice. I agree.
Am kind of a nun when it comes to like stuff that I watch. Like I don't want to see a bunch of naked people on the screen. And they're like, I'm gonna have to because that's a lot of this book. So Callie, can you not be a menace?
I'm just gonna jump in and say, how do we skim over the scene of that the Duke and Duchess
that bitch?
Okay, you wait for the next one. They summon Poppy and they're like, potentially you might have to go to the queen or whatever. This is after Rylan has died. And we're just like, oh damn, this is not okay. We meet Commander Jensen, who's like talking, and then we figure out that is Hawk there. I think this is before he gets this is the scene, where Hawk gets assigned. This is the scene. And she walks in though, and there are night blooming
apples.
Right? And I'm like, that bitch put them flowers in there, like
on purpose.
I know it was the Duchess who did that. The Duke is like, what happened in the garden is why we're all here. With the death of, what was his name? And then Victor's like, Rylan Keogh, Your Grace. And he's like, oh yes, Ryan. With Ryan, literally, I'm like, that dick for forgetting his name. So yeah, the Duke being a dick by saying, forgetting his name, then a bigger dick for not pronouncing Rylan and calling him Ryan.
Right after Victor was like, Rylan Keogh.
Yeah. And then what's this one, which is that bigger dick, is when he's like, the faint twist of a smile on his lips, and he's saying, 2 guards lost in 1 year. I hope that's not becoming a habit. And it's like, you piece of crap.
I hate him so much. I literally have so much hatred for him. I can't even hold it in my body.
Something that I wonder if it's the same for you, but this sentence that, okay, I can't turn my page. that happens right at the very bottom of my page and continues over to this one is, Commander Jensen, if you will, please step outside, the Duke said, and my wide gaze shot to him. There was a smile on his face, one that was wholly pleased and not at all forced and brittle.
Mm-hmm.
And we know, like, my thought is, why would Commander Jensen be happy about it?
The Duke has a smile on his face as he's telling Commander Jensen to...
Oh, no, I totally read that as that she looks at Commander Jensen and he's smiling. Because legit, I'm like, why would he be smiling?
Yeah.
And we only know...
No, it's the Duke smiling because he's about to make her take off her veil in front of Hawk. And he thinks she's disgusting on one side.
Oh, see, no, I totally read it as that he was smiling.
No. Yeah. But no, it's the Duke is smiling as he's dismissing Commander Jensen. Because he's a dick.
Who should also be smiling, because I think that should also be included in that, because I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because he would be very, very...
Stop it!
Smiley.
But that's where chapter 10 ends, is her like having to reveal herself to Hawk. She doesn't in that chapter, but it was so hard to stop there today.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't. I listened to chapter 11 on the way home, but then I was like, it's okay, I'm just going to re-listen to that chapter, because I'm listening and reading at the same time, which is interesting. I can't match the speed, though. I'm almost at 1.75 to try and match my reading speed to the listening speed so that I can go at the same pace. Soon I'm going to be at 2 times the listening speed and going through it.
I think I only stopped because I finished it today and I knew Jenny was coming over, so I had other shit that I needed to do, and I was like, all right, I have to do something else. And Billy, my dude, is super loud. And he has been on the phone all day with different people, and I can't read when other people are living their lives around me. That's like, I need complete silence to be in my own little bubble. That way I can like escape and I'm not continuously drawn out. So
yeah, that's fair.
It was easier than expected, just because of those reasons. I've been in a book slump for a while now. Like, I would say honestly about a month, if not more than that.
I mean, really, it started before Christmas.
Yeah.
Because we did that episode about reading seasons, because we were kind of fluctuating a little bit.
Yeah.
And then it just seemed to spiral.
Yeah, it got worse and worse. But I will say, rereading this now, I actually felt myself getting back into it and like wanting to read.
At the end of these chapters, I was like, oh my God, I need to read more, because I forgot how good they are. And then, like, I was like, oh my God.
But that shows you what a perfect series this is.
I know.
It'll get you out of a book slump. It'll get you back into reading. Like, it's just the perfect series.
This was, I mean, I read the first, 2-3 pages in the bookstore, and then I was like, yeah, all right, you can buy it for me for my birthday, sure. And then it took me about a week or two, I think, until I actually picked it up, and I was like, yeah, okay, fine, I'll read a book, because I haven't read a book in like forever, but I'll read it. And then that was it. I think I'd read it in like 2 or 3 days, and then I went out and bought the next 4 books.
And had them done within like a friggin' week.
I know. And then I was like, more please.
I could not get into ACOTAR. I tried to after, what was it?
I know.
It was, I had just reread FBAA, and then I re-listened to Savage Lands, because that's like my second, that was the book that got me out of the FBAA hangover. And so I needed something to get me out of the Savage Lands hangover.
That was a very, very tough hangover.
Yes.
I literally moved on that evening, and I moved on to what was it? What was it called?
The purple book thing, Crave?
No, not Crave. You have them both on the Audible. What was it? Sorry, hang on. What was it bloody called? I was listening to A Court of Thorns and Roses in the car on the way here, because I thought, I don't know what to listen to.
Oh, the Twisted Vows.
Oh, yeah, the Hollow Vows and these Twisted Bonds. And I was like, I need something. I have no idea if this book is good. I know I have it on my shelf at home, because apparently I purchased it at some point or something. And I was like, I'm just going to press play. And I pressed play, and then I eventually powered through it and got sucked in, all the while going, well, what are they doing now? All the characters from Savage, everything that was just running through my head. And I had to try and literally, it took a lot to move. And I was really tough, but I just powered through those 2 books. And because I was driving back and forth to yours for the cat sitting. So I just had all that free time. And I was like, press play. I'm just going to press play, because I've finished with them and I don't know what else to do. And
they're so good. And it's so bad because you have, if not just as bad or if worse hangover from FBA as you do with Savage Lands. And especially since it's so long too, because it's just as long of a series. And then its prequels and sequels,
I haven't read those,
are also so good. Like Eli and Ember, oh my gosh, I loved their series. And so I was in that world for so long, like getting out of it, I couldn't do it. It was so hard. So I tried to listen to ACOTAR. A few of my friends tried to get me to do the graphic audio. Oh my gosh, you have to.
I'm with you because I need to.
Eli and Ember's story is so good. It's so good. And I freaking love Eli so much.
Reread Savage Land. Oh my god. I'm in love.
I'll reread it with you. I don't care. But yeah, so Katie and Brittany tried to get me, they talked me into doing the graphic audio for ACOTAR. I think it's because it was graphic audio. And so I'm telling myself that I have to give the physical books a chance before I say that I don't like the series. I was not a fan. Like it took until the third book and like the big fight scene for me to be like, what is happening? Like what's going on? And me being interested in what's happening. But I think just because the graphic audio, there's so much happening. Like there's music and different characters, and then there's sound effects on top of the music and stuff. And I think just for my brain, it was too much.
I read 25 minutes on the way here today because I didn't have a book to read. And I thought, I'll just listen to this one because I don't know what else to read. And I didn't want to continue with this without making notes. And I was like, I can't listen to that in the car.
Are you still on my library?
Yeah.
So you're going to be listening to the graphic audios after this?
Oh, no.
That's what I have in my library.
Gosh. Well, no, I don't want to do that. We'll have to get our library cards so that we can find them on Libby or whatever they call it. I read it, but then the literally, what is it, page 2? I have no idea. There is
the wolf.
The wolf is dying, and it's described as like crying and whining and pouring at the ground. And I know that means something because I've already heard it, I've read it, I've seen it on the TikTok stuff. So I get it. I know it's a thing, but I just couldn't get past it. I don't do well with animal stuff at all. And I was like, God, I can't. I don't want to read this. I don't want any, because now I'm like, great. This is a poor dog is dying because she shot it in the eye. Like that's, and then I was off put and I was done. Literally, I was done. I was like, I don't. So I listened to it in the car and I'm like, okay, it wasn't as bad listening to the woman say it as it was when I was reading it and imagining the entire scene happening in my brain and every little detail. So it helped that I listened to it and I didn't read it.
Yeah.
So I got past that scene. But so far, I hate them all. They're all whiny little, I got choice words.
Reese is pretty good though. I just bought the whole set at our local bookshop place. So I have the whole set now. I was missing Nesta's book. I had these ones. But I didn't have Nesta's, but now I have all of them, and then I sold the other ones. Well, I might have given you. Did I give you any? I don't know.
No, but my first one is hardback.
Oh, yeah.
Which I regret spending because I don't like it that much. I mean, maybe I'll love it, but I got power through.
But yeah, so I'm gonna try and give the physical books another chance.
Yeah.
Which I mean, if you're listening to it, then maybe I should.
I just thought I'd try. I know you read them previously and you weren't, and I was like, I've not, and I just already gave up. But I was like, I tried. Just as something that I'm reading in the car because I still have the last half of Butcher and Blackbird. We have some arcs to read. We have other things to read, and I'm not in the reading mood, so I'm just trying to.
Yeah, because we need to do a podcast episode on ACOTAR if we're gonna do it. But anyways, back to FBA. Do you have any last notes?
I don't think so. Other than I just bloody loved it.
So
there was a stone symbol on the floor out in the gardens when Rylan died, and it says that blood seeps into the stone symbol on the floor and the symbol of infinity or something. I don't know. I mean, on my reread, I'm picking up on everything to be like, does that mean something? Does that mean something? I don't know. So I'd like to know.
I half remember that.
Oh, and look, Three Rivers was mentioned again because it's an important place, I swear. And it says, there are 3 ascended that have been kidnapped from Three Rivers and that were returned in pieces. And I don't think...
Where are you? Oh, there you are.
I was going to say, I don't actually think we hear about any other ascenders coming back and being in pieces and stuff. I don't remember there being many.
There's a lot of books, so
I know. I just don't remember there being any, like...
I'm excited to get through the rest, but we're going to do chapters 11 to 20 next.
Oh, yeah.
So
I've already done 11. I haven't made any notes, so I'm going to be reread, so don't worry.
But I'm excited to get through From Blood and Ash and go into A Crown of Gilded Bones, because that is one that people always say that they have trouble getting through. And I never thought so, but I think it's because I listened to it. So I'm interested to see how it goes for just reading.
Dude, I powered through all of them. Like, there was literally no tomorrow. I couldn't put them down.
Yeah.
I was literally, like, all the time I had those books in my face. I just couldn't, even at work. And I was like, I'm supposed to be at work here.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in to our From Blood and Ash chapters 1 through 10. So anyways, thanks for tuning in, and you guys can listen to all of our other podcast episodes on Patreon, Spotify, Apple, Audible, literally anywhere you listen to podcasts. And it's Books, Brews, and Besties, and you'll see our little icon. That's how you know you're on ours, because there is another that's similar, but it's not us. So everyone have a good night.
Such a brat. She's like, I'm gonna call your face out.